Well, good evening, Aaron and D. Watt. This is Ben Lewis, and I'm thankful that I get to say a few kind words about you. We laugh all the time up here in Nebraska about how much the talent improved D. Watt when Aaron moved south, and I suppose that is true. I'm still very proud, though, that I got to be along for the ride a bit when this great podcast started years ago. Those were wonderful times in life. Those were times that I will always remember, walking with some great dudes that loved Jesus and loved their wives and their kids and just cared about doing something that we felt led to. It's interesting to me that the podcast literally started with some guys talking in the back of a church, laughing and joking, and ultimately that turned into some fun get-togethers and even some bourbon drinking once in a while, and then more laughter and more joking, and then ultimately one night, maybe this was said facetiously, but one of us said, we should be recording this stuff. This is gold. And sure enough, Aaron Noller shows up the next week and says, I bought a bunch of podcast equipment. We record this Friday. Aaron, I'm sure you didn't know what you were getting into when you did that. But I'm sure thankful that you were a man of action, a man who had lots of patience and lots of stick-to-itiveness. And I'm just thankful that you're still doing it. I know that people are hearing the gospel. I know that people still listen. I'm certainly one of them. You always had more than one listener, by the way. And I know that number is much larger now. And praise the Lord for people getting to hear the gospel from two awesome dudes from down south. So thank you. Thank you for thinking of me and even caring about what I might say about the show all these years later. I want you to know I'm still listening, though. And one of these days I might even have to package something up and send it your way. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Manhood Neat Podcast. And we're at the 100th episode, D-Watt. 100th episode.
I know. And Ben Lewis just punched me in the feels, man.
Yeah.
He said some really kind things.
Yeah, that being overly generous with his words for sure. For sure.
I don't know about a talent upgrade, man. That's high praise.
Yeah, I'd say let's say a talent shift, right? I mean, yeah. So
yeah.
But
yeah.
But man, how's the last couple of weeks been? Outside of getting amped up for this 100th episode, what else you been going on?
Man, it's been good. It's kind of been busy at work, just like work stuff, but geographically, I don't know, I know we got listeners all over, but we've got some pretty serious wildfires in South Georgia right now. And, it's really affecting a lot of people. And because we're in like central, but like South Central Georgia, we're starting to feel some of that. It's smoky every day I go to work. We're trying to open up what we can to try to take animals, and then if we get told, hey, you're going to take people, then we're going to make that work too. So just kind of been trying to game plan for that, because it's affecting a lot of people for sure. So pray for those folks in South Georgia. Pray for rain. God, it was supposed to rain yesterday here and it didn't, and I was just crushed. It was supposed to rain again today and it didn't. It's 80, it's sunny. So thankful for that, praise God for that, but man, we need some rain. So
yeah, it's the drought map across the United States does not look great. I mean, I know that people up in north central Nebraska have been, had wildfires here. I think as far as I know, there's still some burning. I mean, just, over 1 million acres burned up there. Cattle just, either everywhere or dead. People lost their stuff there. It's going on in Georgia now. There's some fires that broke out. Parts of Tennessee as well. I mean, it's dry. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
We caught a little rain yesterday, not enough to really to wet things, but not to really do any effect on this on the drought map. So yeah, definitely we need some rain. But the bright side of it being dry is Nate and I did have 2 phenomenal days of riding. Thursday, Friday, crushed out a bunch of miles, so that was good. It's always a blessing to get together with him. This was our 22nd year meeting in these mountains to go ride.
Man, that's awesome.
So a lot of good memories, and of course I had to rub it in. I'm like, man, see you next year when you come back up. I'll come back out next week and ride by myself, I guess. So, but.
Yep, you going back down to the flatlands.
Yeah,
south of the fall
that's
line.
Right. Yeah, south of the gnat line, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
So, but no, he should be rolling back today, back into mid Georgia. So, but yeah, no, definitely had a good time doing that. For me, work's gotten slow. I mean, like I'm in corporate mode, banker hours and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. Wednesday, I got done with what I needed to do, and I was like. It's like 3:30. And I was like, man, I ain't going to make it to 5. So at 4:00, I was like, I'm gone. Cause, there's this gif of this guy just rolling over in bed laughing with his motorcycle helmet on. And it says the night before a ride. I'm like, yeah,
that's you.
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that. So, but
anyways. Man.
So 100th episode, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to walk through some, just kind of a timeline of the podcast, how it's kind of evolved. Got some questions we're going to answer. But to start it all off, we are going to revisit the original bottle that was ever reviewed by the podcast. D-Watt, you weren't here for that review. This was prior to your time, so it's going to be your first review of it on the podcast. And I thought, you talked about this, and I thought it was appropriate because it's really hard to score your first bottle, right? Because you don't know where the field's going to lay, and so I think it's worth revisiting. And now we ain't got those clowns in Nebraska to going to ruin my score on this. So, but no. So what is it? We're going back to the old the bourbon shelf to try once again.
Yeah, the only Old Forester 1920 Prohibition style. So again, Brown-Forman owns Old Forester. We've mentioned that probably ad nauseum at this point. This is an ongoing release. I think it was first released in 2014.
So it was not originally released in 1920?
So the 1920 is actually a nod to the Prohibition era. So this comes from a series called the Whiskey Rose series. There's 4. There's like and they all have dates with them. There's only 2 that you need to truly remember: 1910 and 1920. They have like an original bourbon, a bottled and bond, the 1910, and the 1920. So 1910 is basically they double oaked because they had to, because there was a fire, and then it turned out, hey, this stuff's pretty good. So that's where the 1910 comes from. 1920 is, again, a throwback to Prohibition, and at the time they were putting in the barrel at 115 proof, I think. It was either coming in or going out of the barrel at 115. So that's the nod to the 1920. Old Forester has been around for a really long time. And really it's Brown-Forman who's been around. They actually have Kentucky permit number 3.
Yeah.
So
it's been
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the first one y'all did. I'm just really partial to this, and I know you are too, and I thought it was appropriate. Again, it was the first one y'all did, but it's so good. It needs a revisiting, if you will. So let's see, 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted barley. We've already said it, but some of y'all are a little slow on the uptake. Obviously, Josh Heupel, the Iwanians, Jeff Gordon, Joey Logano,
the Phillies.
Yeah. So all those guys, 57.5% alcohol, which again is 115 proof.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
One more group I need to throw some shade at, just because we are in the heart of Little League baseball here, Dixie League baseball here.
Okay.
Anybody, not the kids, because kids are out there trying, but the fan base for the, what is that? SMB, which is Etowah, Tennessee team. Yeah, they're definitely get some shade thrown their way too. If you were at the game, I got to throw that shade.
Throw that shade with the love of the Lord.
That's right. Yeah, they're ministry friends. They are ministry friends.
That's right.
So
that's right. All right, cool. So I would ask you how much Old Forester you've had, but I already know the answer. We talk about this bottle
a lot
regularly.
Yeah. I'll just use the word enough.
Enough. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if I can get a cork pop. Do you have a bottle?
Do
I need to ask these days? Okay.
All that's out of it is
the neck.
The neck.
Yeah. All right, let's see if I can get a cork pop.
Oh, there's one. See if we can go 2 for 2.
Yep. Oh man, yours sounded better than mine. So this, we don't know the age on this while you pour yours. Don't know the age. It is dark, but we don't know. Kind of the thought is because we don't know the age. Old Forester heat cycles their warehouse. So majority of their warehouses are indoors, and they literally turn on the heat and make it like summer, and then they turn the heat off, and they don't make it like winter because it causes, when it gets really cold, it causes more evaporation with the angel share. So they just kind of like make it warm, but that's something that Old Forester does. It's kind of a unique thing. It's very expensive to do. So that could have an idea on, or could have an effect on the color. Because this could be 4 or 5 years old, but because it's been in these heat cycled warehouses, it's really going to look darker than it should. But just a thought.
No, it's got a good color to it. It sticks to the glass a little bit.
It's got some legs.
Yeah. Oh, that nose is good.
Yeah. Sometimes Old Forester, I've had some of their single barrels and stuff. They have a blue label, which is a barrel proof. They have a black label, which is 100 proof. Sometimes they can get very ethanol forward. It's usually what I pick up with Old Forester. There is ethanol here, but man, it's really soft. It's creamy. It's vanilla. It's like vanilla custard. It's cherry cordial, man. This is this is a really nice nose.
Yeah, get a little spice in there, a little bit, just a real kind of a hint of banana bread. But yeah, it's great. Yep.
Yeah, the nose is it's very well balanced, and it really just like draws you in for sure. So,
all right, sir. Cheers.
Episode 100. Man, it's just cinnamon. It's like black pepper. It's just, you get some of the proof. 115 proof isn't nothing to like shake a stick at, right? But it doesn't just blow your palate away at like some young high proof stuff does. So,
and it's
a lot of caramel. I get some like syrup.
Yeah, it's just rich, man. It's full. It's rich. I get that char hit with it. I get that actually pretty quick, and then the sweetness kind of moves in. I get a little like, I'm gonna say nutty, but it's not peanut. It's like, to me, it's
pecan. Excuse me.
See, I think pecan. More. I actually go more like walnuts in banana bread, right? Like that's kind of where I'm just kind of hanging out. Yeah, it's good.
It's a very complex palate.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've been a listener for any length of time, you probably already know that we like this. We talk about the value, the price. So you already know where we're headed. But for this price, which we will hit officially again for number 2, but like, it's very complex. It's very good.
Yes. Yeah.
It's very good.
And the transition into the finish is right there, and it's like you get that spice starts to kick up, that black pepper, and it just lingers. It coats. I mean, I feel it not just on my tongue. It's on the roof of my mouth. It's on the sides. You know, and then you kind of get that, you know, that barrel char kind of holds out, and that to me that walnut nuttiness just kind of hangs out. I would say
you definitely get the barrel char. Yeah.
Do you think that the palate has the complexity, and then as it moves into the finish, it kind of simples out and just kind of rides?
Yeah, the finish is very long, and that's something that has always stood out to me with this. The finish just rides forever. It just lingers. It's nothing like fancy. It's like a little like chocolate, you know, a little maple syrup. I get a little caramel. But man, it's just kind of rides on out. Like it's just,
Yeah. And like, again, for the proof being where it's at, like it doesn't even really warm the chest like some higher proof stuff does. The proofness to me it gives it the legs of the flavor being kind of in your face a little bit, but not in a bad way. But I don't have the heat. I don't have a lot of burn. It's just nice.
Yeah. And like I said, if you have any amount of, and I'm not talking like regular Old Forester, I'm talking about barrel picks, store single barrels. They tend to be very harsh sometimes. But this is not that at all. No. This is just very, very nice.
And you got to give it to Brown-Forman. Like, this is consistent. Every bottle, you're getting the same thing.
Yeah. Yes. And it initially, my thought was when I first had this, I was like, man, they just have like a stock of like honey barrels, and like this is going to run out and this is going to change. It really hasn't. Now they have updated the label. So the label that you and I have is like version 2. There's an older label. And I was like, okay, well, here's the switch. You know, they switched the label. Here's the switch. But if there's a difference, I can't tell it.
Yeah. It's beyond my palate.
Yeah. Fancy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think this hits right there with like a Stag Junior, honestly. Like those are hard to find, you know, of course, which is a Buffalo Trace product, but man, this is pretty solid, dude.
Yeah. So all right. Just to let everybody know, I did not go back and look at what I personally scored this the first time. So this is going to be a uneducated rescoring on my side.
Yeah.
So what are you going to score this at?
I'm going to give this a 79.
Okay.
You're way higher, aren't you?
Way's relative. So I was at 83.
Okay.
So I think an 83 is definitely on this. It's for a lot of reasons. I mean, the flavor, it's great. It's complex, long finish, all the things I like. Proofing's good. So yeah, I'm at 83.
Yeah, that gives us a crispy 81. So solid pick, and that puts it in our top 10.
Okay, so what was our average score the first time?
So the first time y'all had it was a 75.
Okay.
Yeah. So you still scored it really high. I mean, you got to think that's tied with Redbreast 12, Ben Holiday, Soft Red Wheat, Rickhouse Proof. It's just above Maker's Mark Cask, and right below the Short Barrel Double Oaked and the Jack Daniel's Heritage Barrel we had this year. So, I mean, 75 is nothing to shake a stick at, but this 81 actually ties it with Booker's Storyteller's Batch.
Okay. So, but the difference being, this is a what?
Oh, buddy, this is a value.
This is a value bottle.
And look, I'm going to cheat. Okay. I did not pay value money for this because I'm trying to build a relationship with a guy.
Okay.
Right. So I paid more than I know that there are other places in where I live in my area that you can get this for under $60. So I paid $63. I know you can buy it for $59.99. So
yeah,
but where you have to, this is a value. Like we've said that 100 times. So it needs a value score.
Yeah. And I paid $59.99 for it. So I paid right at the cusp.
Yeah. Yep. So we just need to call it that and be good. Yeah.
Yep. So I'll go and throw my value score on this because I've never done that. So my value score on this is a 75. Right. Okay. So it's hitting way above what you're paying for it. And so do I think it's not 100 to me, just because it is right there at the price point, you know?
Yeah.
if it was $50 instead of $60, I'd probably be in the mid 80s on it, right? $10 is a lot to a poor guy. I mean, that's like 4 boxes of Twinkies, right? So, but yeah, so I'm at a 75 on it value wise. I think this hits real well. I mean, if you're wanting to stay in a value bottle, but you want to kind of go upper crusty, so you're going to flirt with the line of a value bottle and be like, but I want to, what is the next level of bourbon? This is where you go, right?
Yeah.
It's going to show you what that next level is, and is your palate becoming refined enough to taste the difference between this and say a bottle of Bond, right? So that's why I'm gonna score it there. Where are you at?
I'm gonna be at an 80.
An 80, okay.
Yeah, which will put us at 77.5 for a value score. And I'll tell you why I'll be at an 80. I've been to multiple distilleries. I have bought distillery exclusive stuff, hey, you can only get it here kind of thing. And this is just markedly better than some of those things.
Yeah.
So,
and it's readily available, right? I mean, you can get it anywhere.
That's the thing. That's the thing that makes this such a value, is that you don't have to fight anybody for this. You don't have to get up 4 hours early. Some of our brothers in like Alabama, North Carolina, like those are alcohol control states. And so it doesn't matter which store you go to, you're going to get the same thing, same price. They do their allocations very differently. And so some of those guys have to get up super early to get some of these like allocated whiskeys, right? Not with this. When I went to the store, there were 7 of these sitting on the rack.
Yep. All day.
Just all day. Yeah. This, I think if I was going to do like a everyday, like sipper, I think this is it.
Yeah.
Now some of that'll be different, like to like what you drink. Some of us drink more than others. Like, you're just blowing through $60 every time. That might get pricey. But I think, to me, this is the best way to introduce somebody into high proof bourbon.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And how I found this is an interesting story. It was I was with your brother, Nate. We go to this conference every year down on the coast, and we would always like bring a bottle of bourbon. Right. And so I was like, man, I need something, like, I want to bring something classy. Of course, I was on a budget. Well, I mean, still am, but like I was on like a real tight budget. And I there's a website called Breaking Bourbon. If you've never been there, you need to go. It's a great website. That's where I get a lot of my information as far as like the history and stuff behind some of these stories. And they had this ranked in they do it by barrels. So like 1 barrel is terrible, 5 barrels is like perfect. And they have this ranked at like 4.5 barrels. And I was like, this is 4.5 barrels. So I was very new to bourbon, didn't know anything. And I took it at the gospel truth. And I'm glad I did, because I don't think your brother had ever had it. And he and I both were absolutely floored at how good this was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely good stuff.
Yes. So go buy it. It's awesome. I think it's the best of the 4 Whiskey Row. I said that a little bit earlier, but 1910 is right behind this. But this is a hitter, dude.
Yep.
Every day you can go buy this. It's crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy.
It is good. All right. Again, this is our 100th episode. We thank you for those who've listened to us, who've stuck with us, whether you're new and this is your first or second episode you ever listened to, or if you've been here since the beginning. We appreciate you joining us through these conversations. If you'd like to support the podcast, the best way to do that, again, is just to spread with your friends. Just tell them about us. Let them know, hey, there's these guys. They've got 100 episodes. Listen to 2. That's all you need to know, where they're at. You can leave it after that. But again, we're on socials. I've actually like 3 podcasts in a row now put out pictures on Instagram. So I've already eclipsed last year's total. Same thing with Twitter, or X, we don't call it. So we're on that at Manhood Neat Podcast. We're at manhood.neat@gmail.com. If you want to reach out via email, questions, comments, concerns, you can roast us, whatever you want to do there. We're there. We'll answer. And then we're also on YouTube, Manhood Neat Podcast there too. So, again, we just appreciate for joining us. If you want to comment, subscribe, rate and all that stuff, we're not going to turn you down. You can do that too. So, but
yes.
All right, before we jump into these questions of kind of, about the podcast, I thought it'd be good just to kind of give a outline of how this kind of started and how we got to where we're at now. So like Lewis was saying in the little intro here, it literally did just start. We were just hanging out in church, a bunch of guys, during the whole COVID deal, and like we need trying to get together. Communities were kind of being ripped apart by laws and all this social distancing stuff. So we're like, let's get families together. We started hanging out, laughing, telling jokes, and diving in the Word together, that kind of stuff. And somebody's like, hey man, we should like record this for our kids one day. And so I did. I went out and bought podcast stuff and started off with this little podcaster P4 deal, and we started recording around a card table in my basement. Not much has changed. I'm still in the basement. It's not a card table anymore, but yeah. But that was from January of 22 up until January of 23. We recorded almost weekly during that time, so we'd put out a episode weekly. Looking behind the curtain, the way we actually did that was record 2 episodes in a sit down and then push one out a week. You can always tell which one was second. Let's just put it that way. But yeah. So that was the Nebraska years, for lack of a better deal. But with that, Rob has actually sent us, who is one of the Nebraska hosts as well, has sent us a little update. So I thought it'd be cool to hear from him.
Hey guys, Rob here. Congrats on getting to 100 episodes. It took a lot of perseverance to get there, especially with changes and seasons in our lives, to maintain something like that and to keep it going. It's a great job, and the content you guys have been putting out has been awesome, so keep it up. So what's been going on in my life recently over the last few years? We've had a lot of changes. Going back probably after Aaron moved away because he didn't like us anymore. We later on, let's see what happened. Lost my dad in 2023, late 2023, November, right before Thanksgiving. And then about a year later, we took in 3 foster girls, 3 little ones. They were 5, 3, and 2 when we took them in. We've had them for a couple years, and we literally just adopted them about 2-3 days ago. It's Wednesday of this week. So it was quite a journey, 2 years of that, and so a lot of updates in the family, a lot of just self-reflection, if you will, or a lot of spiritual growth in that time frame. So yeah, a lot going on there from a family perspective. So we went from 2 kids to 5 kids. It's been awesome, and they're great kids. So what else? Anything I can think of? Just normal life stuff, right? Work and family and building community the best you can. Missed the podcast. Remember joining it when it was the season of the thing that shall remain nameless time in the history of the U.S. and the world. Some kind of fake disease was going around or something like that. Anyway, and it was, some guys at church that said, and Noller, you were definitely instrumental in that, putting all that together and getting us all together and just having fun and talking about Jesus and really having to examine our lives doing it before you jump on and start recording things that people are going to hear, and it's going to be recorded and in the interweb forever. So kind of humbling after a few episodes to really think about that. Plus I got to learn a lot about whiskey, or at least some. I wouldn't say I know a lot, but it was a good amount through the experience. But it's great, and hope to maybe jump on a podcast with you all one of these days. Obviously, it just takes the commitment to do it like you guys have been doing for 100 episodes. So good job to that, and love you all, and take care.
Well, good evening, Aaron and Dee.
Sorry, I was about to start another one again.
Yeah. Well, praise God, man. That's awesome to hear from Rob that they got those girls adopted, and man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. They've definitely been, that family, man, they're just awesome. Just answering the call, that God puts on them, and regardless of the hardship that it's going to, like hardship be whatever, like the Lord's called us to do it, we're going to do it. I thought he made a good point too when he's talking about, something that I guess when we first started doing this, I didn't really think about is that, but like, man, if you're going to be, and this doesn't matter if you're just talking to someone in next door, people at work, whatever, but when you're proclaiming the name of Christ, your life has to echo that, right? And so like, and to do that self-reflection of, would Christ want me to be his envoy by the way I'm living my life right now? Right. And so I thought that was, he just kind of said that as a little thing in his little blip there, but it got me thinking like, yeah, it's probably something I don't do as much as I should, when there's big issues in my life, I'll try to address it, but am I constantly trying to address the issues, and this is both, just being an envoy to Christ at work, being an envoy to Christ at church, in the community, or on this podcast, but that's that constant self-reflection. So I thought that was a good point.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So, but anyways, yeah. So Rob, as I said, like he said there in January of 23, is when I departed Nebraska and moved here to Tennessee. Original plan was to keep going with those guys via Teams. And then we entered the year of silence, right? So January of 23 to January of 24, there was 2 episodes I put up by myself. And one was like
about Andrew Tate,
and one of just, I think I had one called "We're Back," and then there was nothing for like a half a year.
It was "We're So Bad."
We're so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, don't just blow by that. Like, yes, you'd moved, and it's easy, of course, like looking back, but like without, obviously you and I, we talked a lot about it, but like just for the listener, like that was tough, and there was a lot of prayer, and there was a lot of y'all saw a lot of wise counsel, and it wasn't easy to move. So don't just smooth over that. Like that was you and Liz being obedient to God. And so like, because your obedience, like it, God's like blessed y'all, and y'all are just exactly where you're supposed to be right now, and like doing exactly what you're supposed to do. So yes, there was a year of silence, but that was tough.
It was a year. Yeah. Kind of
for y'all, for sure.
A funny, I guess kind of the story with that is, so like I knew we'd been praying for, months before we made the decision to leave the employment I was at. Right.
Yep.
And, I was like, okay, yep, I've got to make a change, work wise, because and I'm not going to go into the whole reason why, but we needed to, and the Lord was definitely leading us to that. And so I was like, all right, I know I need to leave. And I remember I was talking to one of the pastors at our church at Hillcrest, and he was the youth pastor there at the time. And I was like talking to Zach. He's like, "Yeah, I heard you're leaving your deal." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm putting out some applications and stuff, and got my resume out there." And I said, "But the one thing Liz and I are sure on is we're staying in East Nebraska." And he just laughs. And I'm like, "What? No, like we got this strong community here. I got the guys on the podcast. We got this really good small group." And he's like, yeah. And just laughed and walked off. I was like, whatever, dude. This is why he's a youth pastor. He don't know nothing, right? And and then
those youth pastors, they're the worst.
yeah. And then I got this offer to come out and interview here, and so they flew me out. I interviewed, did all that stuff, went back, and Liz was like, "How'd it go?" I'm like, I don't know. They said it's gonna be a few weeks. Before I hear something. And so I got back on like on a Friday or Saturday. That following Sunday, like I hadn't heard anything, but I'm like, I think we're moving to Tennessee. And Liz is like, "No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not." And she's like, I'm like, "No, like, what do you feel?" And she's like, "I don't want to." I said, No, what do you want? What? And and so like we go to church, we're sitting in church, service is good, we're walking out to the car, and she's like, "I don't want to move. Like this church, like we got this family here, like church family, and this is the most community we've ever had." And she literally like, we're opening the door to the car, and she's like, "God, don't make us move." And we sit down and we start the car, the radio kicks on, and I don't know the actual song, but it was like God was like,
was it Moving On Up?
No, it was like something like "I'm So Sorry." And that's just the song, like it's like "I'm so sorry," like came out, and I'm like, God's talking to us through the car like he's Bumblebee or something, And then like the next song was something about some country song about living in Tennessee, and I was like, yeah. So Liz laughed, through tears because she knew it was coming, but yeah. So,
and again, man, it's, you know, it's a testament to y'all's obedience, you know, so for sure. Yep.
but yeah, so then in January of 24, I reached out to DWAT. I'm like, DWAT, can you save the podcast? And,
Not true.
And he was like, yes. He's like, yeah. He's like, you definitely need help. But yeah,
Not true.
So since January of 24, and God's really good at, like, apparently, like, January is the month of change for me. But he is when DWAT came on board, and we switched. You know, once we kind of rebooted to every other week, we've kind of worked on, and we've for the most part hit that. We've missed a few here and there, but pretty much done bi-weekly, and obviously we're into year 3 now. But looking at it, this 100th episode, it's almost pretty well split 50-50 with. Because I did them every week with them and then every other with you for 2 years. It's kind of like the halfway point. So, but yeah. So these have been my first question. I got a couple questions which are just for DWAT before we get into the questions for both of us. So, first question is, DWAT, is your wife still extremely mad at me for ruining your birthday surprise because I moved to Tennessee?
No. No. So to give everybody some context, I turned 40 a couple years ago. And you know, y'all were just rolling on the podcast. And the plan was for my 40th birthday, we were going to fly to Nebraska, spend some time with you and Liz. We were going to record an actual episode. I was going to be like a guest thing. We were going to just spend some time with y'all. And she was so excited and had bought plane tickets. And then you and I, one night, we were playing Xbox, and we were both, you know, as God would have it, like we were both changing jobs. And so we were kind of sharing with each other and, you know, what's it look like and praying and that kind of thing. And I went to bed that night and I was like, man, I think Aaron and Liz are moving to Tennessee. And she never said anything, but I found out later she didn't sleep that night because she was like, oh my gosh, I've already bought plane tickets. Like, we're supposed to go to Nebraska. So, and so it didn't ruin it. In fact, it turned out to be a blessing. So we took those tickets and ended up going to Texas, and became one of my favorite trips we ever did. I was working night shift. So I got off that morning. We jumped on a plane, flew into San Antonio. I slept in a rental car for an hour and a half. And then that's all. I'm a power nap guy. So I just needed like a power nap. And then we spent the week in Texas, one of my favorite trips, most blessed we've been. It was just incredible. Kind of made our way from San Antonio, Dallas, Fort Worth, and then flew out, spent a week in Texas. It was awesome. So it turned out to be a blessing. So no, she is not mad at you. But there was a moment of panic for her.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Because I think it was the next day after I talked to you on the thing. I'm like, you know, I was like, Liz, you got to talk to that. Like, you need to text Ashley.
Yeah, because I think her and Liz were texting back and forth.
Yeah. So, all right. And then my other question for you is, so in December of 23, when I brought up, you know, having you come on board and rebooting this thing, did you have any apprehension when I asked you to join?
No, not at all. Because I think initially, you were going to do just kind of, if I remember correctly, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you were just going to do you and then just have like kind of one-off special guests. And you asked me to be the very first one. And I was unbelievably flattered. Like, you know, you talk to me we talk all the time. So the fact that you would want to talk to me like on record, you know, like this guy doesn't think I'm a moron, or if you do, you hide it well. I'll just say that. So yeah, I was going to do an episode on calling because I had just changed jobs, and you knew the story behind like the Lord calling me to this job. And you called me one day. I was in my patrol car, and you called me, and you were in your work truck, and you were driving between fields, and you're like, hey, I think I just want you to join the podcast like full time. Like me and you will just do it. And without like zero hesitation, I was like, absolutely. Like, this is going to be awesome. So, definitely, you know, I think I ended up telling Ashley later that night, I was like, hey, I'm going to end up doing the podcast with Aaron. And she's like, no, you had told me that. And I said, no, like, I'm going to be like full time. Like, I'm going to be new talent. And she just rolled her eyes at me. So yeah, no apprehension, whatsoever, man. And, you know, for like my 2 cents, like I look at it as a ministry. and I think you do too.
Oh, yeah.
We've talked about that. So, absolutely no apprehension whatsoever, man. And I'm just flattered that you would ask me for sure. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah.
So now we just roll into these group questions. Now, are any of these from listeners? Did you develop these, or how we come up with these?
I solicited questions from several people, and I was not sent any. So these are questions that I came up with. So do you want me to read them, or you want to read them?
It don't matter. We can go back and forth.
Okay. So what has been our funniest or most off the rails moment in our 100 episodes?
So on this, I'm going back to, because I've got the full 100, right? So
I think I know where you're headed.
Episode 3, right? It's when Dylan broke the stopper off the Derringer bottle, which was garbage whiskey, but Benson had bought it just because the bottle was so cool, and the stopper especially, and he was like trying to force a loud pop, and it just broke the stopper like off. I mean, he just snapped it off, and like that's literally the first time that Dylan and Benson had met each other ever. And Dylan's face is just flushed, like, oh my gosh, like, what did I just do? Yeah. And I was about to puke. I was laughing so hard. Because I knew, like, and so, like, Benson is like the nicest guy you'll meet, right? Super generous, all this kind of stuff. But when he's just sitting and you haven't met him, like, you would think, like, because he's got his stuff put together. And, like, so you'd be like, oh, this dude's like, straight-laced businessman, blah, blah, blah. And that's what Rob's like impression of him was. Not Rob's, Dylan's impression of him was. So Dylan is just like, just terrified, like, I'm done, And we had already told Dylan that he was like on a short leash because he was like not really supposed to be on the podcast, but he was our Make-A-Wish. And so, yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh, not the Make-A-Wish. Oh man, that's funny. And for those of you who don't know, H Derringer, you can Google it. They have really fancy bottles. They have fancy stoppers. They do put a lot of money into bottling and packaging, and the whiskey is hot garbage. It's hot garbage. It is not good at all. So, if you just want a fancy decanter, I guess, spend your bucks. But if you want decent whiskey, go buy Old Forester 1920. You'll buy something else. Yeah. I think for me, the one that it was the most off the rails, and it really caught me off guard was it Rob's son? Whose son dropped the F-bomb?
Oh, no, that's Lewis's son, Nate. Yeah.
Okay, Ben Lewis's son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working night shift, and, of course, you would always tell me, like, hey, new episode, blah, blah, blah. So I'd always make sure to listen to it. And, man, when I heard the beep, I was like, what did he just say? And I had to go back in my little Apple podcast and like rewind. So that definitely caught me off guard. I was like, what are we doing?
You never know what you're going to get with special guests, right? So
yeah, for sure. So that was kind of the most off the rails moment for me. I just couldn't believe that. So yeah.
All right. Second question here, and you can answer the first. What's something we said early on that we definitely say differently now?
Okay. So I don't actually hate Josh Heupel. Okay. Like I as like he's a brother in Christ, right? Like I don't actually hate him. So maybe I would dial off the Josh Heupel hate.
It's too late. It's ingrained. It's too.
But we're here now. We're here now. But and again, I told this story initially, but I saw him when Tennessee a couple years ago playing for the College World Series, and he's up in the press box with Morgan Wallen and Peyton Manning. I mean, I embarrassed myself. I was not a good witness to my kids because I was up there talking about his mouth and his cheeks and how many acorns he had stuffed in his little chubby cheeks. So. I don't actually hate him. I do not like Tennessee, and I hope he stays there because they have not beat us since he's been there. So go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Yeah. So I've got a couple. One is probably the R word episode.
Oh, where you said, well, it's just Trump's America now, so you can say it.
Yeah.
That's what my brother-in-law tells me.
Yeah. So, and I ain't gonna lie, like the contrarian part of me, like when someone was like, hey, you can't say that anymore, just maybe we want to say it even more, So
oh man. Yes.
And then the other one is I'm not. It's not really. I mean, the way we use it in the podcast, I think was great and fine. But that's the explanation of ministry friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you haven't heard that episode, what it basically is, I say that you have friends in your life that God is like Jonathans, right? God's given to you to be brothers or sisters to walk through life with, and lean on, and just you enjoy being around them. They're family, right? And then there's other people that God brings into your life that He wants you to be friends with, because He needs you to minister to them. And you might not really like these people, but they're your ministry friends. So you're friends with them for ministry, right? And so, and again, I'm not ministry friend. That's what it is. Yep. I'm not mad to use it, but I don't know if, the one time we made shirts, they said, "Hello, ministry friends" on the front, right?
Yep.
Well, then there was a guy who, like saw that shirt and like, "I like that shirt." I'm like, "Buddy, you're my best ministry friend." And then found out later on that he was listening to the podcast and eventually got to that episode and like just saw me in church and he's like, like gave me the scowl face. I'm like, so I'm not mad how we use it in the podcast, but should not have used it with him later on. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah. I have a Hello Ministry Friend shirt.
Yeah. You were one of the original runs. Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You shipped me one. So, yep. I wear it every now and again. All right. So, what episode are we secretly most proud of?
Secretly most proud of.
I guess it's not a secret. We're fixing to tell everybody.
Yeah.
So, what episode are you most proud of?
So the Time to Confront Woodford episode.
So recent.
No. This is
the Woodford
Double Oaked. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was probably one of our more like, I guess, so we didn't do the outlines quite as in depth as we do now back then, and which you can tell. Actually, I did start doing them, but nobody read them, so I'm like, what's the point? But
because you just came with questions, right?
Yeah.
And y'all just because there are 5 of y'all, so like there was enough to talk.
There's enough to talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but we kind of we had differing opinions on confrontation, and obviously and I think that it led to a good place, but and just that I liked it because we had gotten comfortable. That's when I knew we had gotten comfortable enough for this to actually work, because we didn't care if we were on the mic disagreeing with each other and fighting each other, right? So I really, to me, that was like, okay, yeah, this is what this needs to be as far as iron sharpening iron. Like, you've got to push back. Like, iron sharpening iron makes sparks, right? And so I really liked that episode. I mean, the content I thought was good, but it was more of the dynamic was like, and we've talked about this before. The goal, like one of our goals in ministry with this is not, we want to present the gospel and happy walk, but really it's to give men an idea of what their conversations with their brothers should be like, right? And to develop this type of relationship that you and I have, or I had with those guys, with other men in their real lives. And so to understand, you're going to get to places where there are sparks, and you can argue back and forth, but you're still brothers, and you still love each other, and you end on a good note. And I think that episode kind of showed that.
Yeah, I remember that episode. I can't remember specifically who it was, but I do remember it got very kind of like back and forth with whoever it was, and it was done in love, and I don't think anybody dishonored their witness or anything like that. So yes, I do remember that, and I agree. I think that's what made the 5 of y'all so good, is that you could have those conversations, and then you just walk upstairs and eat dinner with your families.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah. For me, I think it is the He Gets Us episode.
Okay.
So my experience with that was, it was a series of commercials that were done during the Super Bowl. I remember watching it because we had a bunch of people at the house. I remember watching it thinking, like, this is crap. Like, not one part of this is remotely biblical, right? And then as the Lord would see fit, you start texting me, I think, and was like, what is this? Like, we need to talk about this. And so when we decided that this was going to be our next episode, excuse me, I started digging into, like, what is this organization? Never mention the name of Jesus. It was just, He gets us, He understands. Well, of course, He's God, He made us, right? Like, of course He gets us. So I thought that was one of our better episodes. And then for me, like, some of the people that listened here where I'm at reached out to us and were like, yo, y'all hit the nail on the head with that. So I guess selfishly, like, I got some validation out of it, but I thought it was one of our better episodes. And yeah, I think think I was in, I can't remember where I was, but I saw like a He Gets Us truck and like sent you a picture of it. So yeah, I'm like hyper aware of it now. But I do think that's one of our better episodes, and it just gave us a chance to, push back against
on culture.
That's false teaching is what that is. Like that's heresy. And so it gave us a chance to push back on that. And yeah, I think it was one of our better episodes for sure.
Yep. And I would say, I have kind of a caveat to this, but as far as one of my, like, said not most proud of it, like one of my favorite episodes to record, like I just enjoyed the recording,
Okay.
The one we did with Cap and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
Brian.
Yeah. So I thought that was I just enjoyed the experience. It was a good conversation, and I would, I think it'd be cool if we could do some more of those for sure, either with them or even with other, just men of God. So
yes, I agree 100%. That is one of my favorite episodes that we did. A friend of mine listened to it and he was like, listen, he's older. He's like, it's a little long for me talking about our podcast episodes. He said, but you got two Baptist preachers talking about whiskey and firearms. He said, I would have never seen the day. So, yeah. So, is this you
this is mine? Yeah. What's one hill that we'll probably die on no matter what?
Okay, it's a tiny hill. I'm just gonna preface that. But I love a good hamburger, and I think that if the hamburger is done well, it can really be life-changing. But I think that tall hamburgers completely nullify the benefit of what a burger is supposed to be, and I think it's an abomination to the cuisine.
Oh, like if you can't get your mouth around it?
Yeah. I think that if you can't take one bite and get all of the things that the chef included, the bread, the lettuce, the tomato, the cheese, the blue cheese crumbles, the egg, like whatever, the avocado, like whatever you got on there, if I can't get that in one bite, what's the point?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So there was a restaurant, there's one here in town. It's not here anymore. It's called Fuddbuckers.
Oh yeah.
And
I remember that.
Yeah. They had hamburgers that were the size of a Frisbee, but they weren't tall.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think tall hamburgers are just an absolute, it's a waste.
Okay.
And that's the tiny, tiny hill I'll die on.
So I went a little more spiritual, I guess, on that.
Again, which is very par for the course.
Yeah.
For us.
Well, no, really, like we had that one episode where you were like spiritual things to leave, and I was like, I'd give a gun, So,
yeah. I'm going to give a guy a movie to watch with nothing to watch and no way to charge the device he's going to watch it on.
That's true. Yeah. But so I said, other than the gospel, and I put right, is proper leadership structure in the church.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I think it's crucial to the church being effective. So
like go ahead and put it on wax. Like what does that look like for you?
So a plurality of elders being only men, deacons and deaconesses being the servant class. That sounds bad. The servant roles.
Sounds very second class citizen.
Yeah. And then, and the congregation being led by the eldership, and so, but I think plurality of men eldership is absolutely necessary. And I'm okay with having a structure above that. If you want to have like regional elders that meet together and stuff, I'm like that longer, but at least if we're talking local body, right. Plurality of elders, men headship. And I think without that, even if you just have one man leading, I don't think that's scriptural. I don't think that's any better than, other things. Cause his weaknesses become the church's weaknesses. Right. So, but yeah, so I think that's it. I think you've got to have it. If you've got members of the congregation who are not elders and they flex power within church, that's a problem. It's a big problem. And
complete sidebar. But do you feel as a pastor, if you were a pastor, should you know what people give?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so. Like
And when I say give, we're talking about tithes. So
Tithes,
like
yeah.
I've seen it both ways. I've been to churches where the pastor has his hand in the finances as far as like he knows who tithes what. And then I've seen churches where the pastor has literally no idea who gives what.
So,
And it allows them to just kind of, I guess, treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're human. They're human.
I think
What's your
that
thought on that?
this is the eldership of the church, right? So again, not single pastor, but the elders should know the flock well enough that they know who gives sacrificially and who's just there hanging out, right? And so now that could be maybe somebody ain't got a lot of money, but they give a lot of their time. Or maybe it's somebody who doesn't have any money or any time, but they're still there as much as they can, and they're like it costs them to
Right.
show up and serve, right? So sacrificially just means that you're sacrificing. Should I think the guy who's tithing $1 million a year should be more important than the person who's not tithing anything but they're there volunteer, no money, but they're there all the time. And maybe
Right.
they don't have like maybe they're in retirement, like we don't have any money. This is what we do, but I'm gonna be here all the time, right? No, I don't think they should.
Yeah.
And so I don't. Again, does it matter? Should they know the exact dollar amounts everyone's given? No. But should the eldership know the people well enough to know who is giving sacrificially for the Lord? Yes. And what that looks like is going to change person to person. So that's kind of where I fall on that.
Okay. I just had that thought. So,
All right.
all right. What is the most unmanly thing that you enjoy?
Okay. Oh, I'm scared to put this on wax. I love, I nerd out on it so big. I love when it's time to buy a new vacuum cleaner. I will when I start hearing the vacuum make weird noises and I know it's going out, I start my research, buddy. I mean,
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, watching YouTube, it's like buying a motorcycle. Like I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to test drive that bad boy. I love buying vacuum cleaners.
Okay. Do you want to talk about your current model?
So currently I've got, I don't actually know that I should know that as much as I nerd out. It's been so long because I generally buy reliable ones. It's years. I've got a Shark.
Okay.
It's not an upright. I don't like uprights because uprights have way less sucking power than a canister vacuum. I don't care what brand you have.
You sound like my mother-in-law.
Okay. But yeah, so we've got the Shark, whatever it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever we got it. Whatever their best canister vacuum was. Doesn't take a bag. You can use one if you want, but it's got the quadruple HEPA filters and all that. Self-cleaning head. It's got 4 power modes. You can just change right there with the thumb.
It's got sport mode.
Oh yeah, dude, just winds up like a supercharger. Yeah. Navy blue with brushed aluminum accents. Good for hardwood and carpet.
Yeah. So we have a Shark canister, not like a stick vacuum that we use.
Oh, stick. You got no horsepower in that.
Yeah. Well, we have hardwood floor. Do you have carpet?
A little bit of both. More hardwood, but got a little bit of carpet. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we've got all hardwood floors. So, and we have a 100-pound golden retriever who just throws hair literally everywhere.
Yeah,
so
we've got
works for us.
We've got a husky. I mean, he throws hair too, but it just you open the little thing and you just got basically like a poodle in there every day. Throw it away. Yep.
Yeah, like a teacup poodle full of hair. Yeah. All right. So the most unmanly thing that I enjoy is fancy water.
Fancy water.
Fancy water. Like I like sparkling water. Like I like, just if there's a fancy water like Pellegrino, I really like fancy water.
Do you get that one that comes in the white, it comes in like a metal can, not with a screw top? It's not in plastic. You seen that one? Okay, start looking for it, buddy. That's some good water.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I haven't had that. I do like fancy sparkling mineral water. So, what's the one in the black can? God, it just left me.
Liquid Death.
Yeah, Liquid Death. Love some Liquid Death. Again, it's not still. It's got to be the black. It's got to be sparkling. Again, Pellegrino. Love that. I like regular Topo Chico. That's sparkling mineral water. So yeah, my girls and my wife bully me about it, but I'm just locked into fancy sparkling water. So that's probably the most unmanly thing about me.
I'm probably gonna find something more, but
yeah.
All right.
That's
If we could restart this podcast today, what would we do, or what would you do differently?
so I had a hard time with this one because I didn't start this podcast. So I came into something where, you had like a dream and a vision. And so I don't know if I would do anything different. Like I really enjoyed the mix that y'all had in Nebraska. The five of y'all. It was five, right? I keep saying five.
Yeah,
It was five of y'all, right? Like I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed, it was only you probably only had a couple questions, but because there were five of y'all, there was enough time for everyone to kind of give their opinion and all that kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I don't know what I would do different, like I like everything about it. That was one of the things that really kind of flattered me when you asked me to do this. It was like, I get to be a part of this. Like, I love this, initially I had sent you 2 bottles. One of them was a Maker's Mark cast string. The other one was a mellow corn. And then there was a ASW rye that were for the podcast. They never made it from a motorcycle trip that you and Nate and Danny had.
That's right.
In fact, your caller ID photo for me is you holding the ASW bottle. You had sent me a picture like, thanks for the bottle, bro. It's awesome, right? Those were all meant for the guys in Nebraska. Apparently they never left Arkansas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to figure out how can I get whiskey to Nebraska? Like I was looking up, like, can I mail it? Like I was doing all these things. So I was a fan off the rip. So I just don't know what I would change. Like I'm thankful that it's kind of turned into what it is, with us. And of course, I would love to have, a couple of the guys we've talked to already were like, hey, I need to jump on an episode. Man, I would love that, to add a third perspective, because you and I we're different, but we're also very similar. I mean, we've said it 100 times. That's what makes it work between us. But yeah, I would love that, but I just don't know. I don't think I would change anything, man. I think it's just right now it's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guys all know that they have open invitations, and I'm just putting if they want to join the episode, all I got to do is say, hey, when you guys recording next? So they know that, like they've all said, it's just, they've got to make the commitment, but we're here. We'd love it. I guess the only thing I would change, and this is probably, I don't know if I should say this because I'm kind of too lazy to do it. I could still do it now, but is to better maybe spend a little more time with the actual like sound, like leveling and stuff. I know that especially the very beginning was real bad. I mean, it's a little better now. I still don't take the time to get rid of our uhs and ahs. I want it to be a little raw, but like the first few episodes, it was rough. Like it was like you had to like turn your volume way up and then turn it down and turn it up.
Yeah.
So just some technical stuff.
Talking. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a whole episode where, like,
it was Dylan's mic.
No, it was Lewis's. Ben Lewis's mic was just off.
Yeah,
and so you could hear him through other people's mics, but not his. Yes. Yeah,
but the mics you have are so sensitive that you could hear like his ambient voice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, nothing on that. All right. The last question we got here is if someone only listened to one episode ever, what should it be?
So I'm going to cheat just a little bit, and it's not going to be an episode, but I really loved the discipleship series that we did, or not discipleship, spiritual disciplines.
So you're taking an entire year, taking an entire years of episodes.
It's not exactly a year, but I mean it's 10, 12 episodes. I'm just a fan of spiritual disciplines, I think, and it's probably an overcorrection from me personally because I wasn't introduced to those, and of course you always know about them, but I wasn't truly like introduced and educated on those until I was like almost 30. And so like I see the importance in that, and I see the benefit, and of course we can always like woulda, shoulda, coulda, like hindsight 2020 kind of thing. But I think I would start people there. If I was going to pick one out of that series, I think our confession episode is my favorite out of that series. We did Redbreast 12, which is an Irish whiskey. And I think, that would be my favorite episode out of that series, but I would push people to that series. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I cheated too, but I only chose. I had to choose 2 episodes.
All right.
So obviously, if it's someone because you have to know who the listener is, right? That's why I had to choose 2. So
Yeah.
if you're sharing it with somebody who is super new believer, just out the gate, looking for some type of discipleship. I actually went to one we just did a little bit ago. Old Fitzgerald explains the work of Jesus 7 times, right?
That's right.
I think that's 2 or 3 weeks ago. We just, or 2 or 3 episodes ago, we just talked about what it is Christ accomplished with becoming fully man, cross, death, right? Resurrection. So I thought that was really good. It's not just like the gospel presentation, but it's a kind of the why, a little bit more of that too. It's a little deeper than that. So I think it'd be good. But then for someone who's been in the faith for a while and is kind of stagnating, maybe, or just feels like I need more. It's going back to an earlier episode, that 101 turkey deception of comfort taking the place of purpose. And that's one of our older episodes back with the guys. And there we just kind of really dove into that comfort is probably our biggest idol in America, and that it does rob us of purpose, right? We just kind of go to fulfill comfort as opposed to fulfill purpose. And I thought it was a really good discussion on that. So those are my 2 I kind of chose.
Yeah. No, those are good for sure.
So, all right. Well, we got one more catch up from one of the Nebraska guys. This is from Ben Benson. I'm going to go ahead and apologize for him. He recorded this while apparently he was doing a ruck, run, or walk on the windiest day ever. So he's probably, preparing for some special forces, Wagyu beef thing. But I tried to clean it up the best I could and remove the wind noise, but I just could not isolate his voice to get it 100% clean. So you're going to have to bear with it, but I think what he had to say is really good. And then D-Watt, I'd like we'll just kind of talk about the application, because he's got a little more like spiritual application in his thing. We'll talk about that, and I think that'll be a good way to kind of close this out.
Yep.
Hey, Aaron, I kind of had a couple thoughts here. No, nothing really great memories that stand out above anything else, and no, anything too crazy in my life right now, but just really my heart's really been on like the end of days. And Jamie Walden has some material out regarding just the end of days and living for the end of days from like a spiritual preparedness perspective, and also just a physical preparedness perspective, because like we know as believers we're given certain information, and he's provided us information on what the end of days looks like, and he expects us to be watchful for those days. And so I've really committed a lot of my time to understanding, where are we at today? What does it look like? Discerning how to physically prepare and spiritually prepare. Not from like an Armageddon into the world trying to time the coming of Christ, but just being prepared. And being prepared for the things that are coming prior to his arrival, which we know will not be good. And so, anyways, man, lots of schools of thought out there, but I think I've basically landed on we need to be in a position of no unrepentant sin. We need to be in a position of like loving everyone and caring for everyone. But then as believers, we have an extra responsibility to stand firm, because we're going to have brothers and sisters that claim to be believers who are everyday Christians who are going to have no clue what is happening. And the church right now is really failing. They're positioning Christ as only as the Lamb, only as the love, and only as seeker-friendly, like come to me and I'll love you. And that's all true, and Jesus is absolutely love, but he's coming back to bring the sword. And people are going to the lake of fire, and it is not going to be pretty. And I think for those of us who understand that, we need to be prepared to bring others to Christ before he comes, but then we also need to be prepared to bring the church into what is coming and help our friends and family who may be on the sidelines as believers, who are just going to church on Sunday and they're totally complacent, have no clue what's happening around them. But anyways, man, I just think spiritually being ready is changed the way I look at everyday life. So I wake up, I look at every day, and I say, like, hey, if this was the end of days today, what is expected of me today? If Jesus literally came face to face with me right now and found me where I am, what does that mean? Is it the right thing? What am I doing today to prepare for him to come? But anyways, man, appreciate you guys doing the podcast. Like I said, I'd love to jump in and do some of these things. You know, time commitment wise is difficult, but so glad you guys are continuing it, and miss you, brother. See ya.
I thought it was good. I said hopefully you can hear that through the wind noise.
No, it sounded great. And Brother Benson, man, thank you for that. Thank you for being sensitive to God working in your life and in your heart. So I'll just end with this, and these are my closing thoughts: is that this is an invitation. It's an invitation is as simple as it is comprehensive. It is not an invitation to commit your life to one thing or another, to one cause or another, or to join an organization or to purchase another book. The invitation is this: that you wake up to your life, to a life that you always hoped was possible, and the reason that you were put on planet Earth. This is an invitation to awaken to the life you were made to live and to become the love you were made to give. And it begins with following Christ. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess my closing thoughts are, again, just to the listener, we appreciate you being here. And again, this is ultimately for God's glory. That's why we're here. Our goal is that you will find brothers to go and have these conversations with, to walk with, to be discipled by, to disciple. And also too, man, like, listening back to the guys from Nebraska that used to be on the podcast, just friends. I just want to say, I appreciate them reaching out and doing this, but also more importantly, I appreciate that they're still my brothers, they're still friends. And as much as I can think about all the crappy things that happen in life, whether it's, financial crappiness or weather crappiness or fires or whatever, and I can complain like, why haven't you given me this? And I can look back and dude, David had one Johnathan. The Lord has blessed me with multiple. I mean, 5 or 6 I can name off right on my head right now, probably more.
Yeah.
And so he has blessed me richly, and so I'm thankful for that. And go out and find your Jonathans. I mean, that's more important than next to your wife and God, obviously. Like, having a Johnathan in your life is huge for spiritual development. So
yeah, for sure. And I would say, you go back to the Old Testament, when they would do something of note, right, they would build an altar. And so they would build an altar to God, right? So they could, in that moment, kind of preserve what happened, okay? And I think that we build a lot of altars, and I think ultimately, like, we need to have one altar, and that needs to understand, like, to know that, like, God is our King. And just like Benson said, talking about the end of days, like, tomorrow could be the day. It could be the day where God looks at Jesus and says, go get your bride, and so we have to be prepared for that. And if you're dealing with the hardness of heart, like, you've got to know that is you, that you're lukewarm. And so, knock down those other altars, knock down those other idols. And it needs to be just your love for the Father and understanding that he sent his son as a propitiation of sin for us,
Yep. All right. Well, I'll close this in prayer, and we'll wrap up.
Yeah.
All right. Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. I do thank you for just 100 episodes of good memories with friends, with brothers. We ask, Lord, that you'd use our words, clean them up for us, and just may you be glorified through this. We pray for the listener, Lord, that you just bring brothers, Jonathans, into his life, or the ones he has, that they would just be thankful for each other and sharpen each other. That we would, Lord, be ready for your return, that we would live as though it is imminent, and just share the gospel with all the lost. That we would keep ourselves under a microscope, Lord, and allow your scalpel to cut out the areas that need to be cut out. We thank you that you're gracious, that you're loving, that you're patient. As much as I want you to come back tomorrow, Lord, at the same time, there's so many lost that mean something to me that need to find you, that I am thankful that you do stay your hand. We just give you all the honor and glory, Lord, and we just look forward to serving you with each breath moving forward. And we ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, we'll catch you in a couple of weeks as we get back into discipleship and
how to study the Bible.
And
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on the Manhood Neat Podcast. You getting on the old sticks?
Yeah, it'll be later tonight, but yeah, I'll be on.
I got other more important plans, huh?
Yeah.